Test, test. Test, test. Second, guys. Sorry, just decided to change your mind about something. I was like, I was turning the audio down for the Apple Music on the OBS when I should have just done Apple Music itself, and then it caused like a whole weird thing, and it's like, oh, this is weird. Why am I doing this? Welcome to the stream. I realise with this background music now, I should like have a much more chiller like opening. I feel like I should be smoking. Just like a cigarette in one hand and talking like we're in a noir. Talking about how dirty the streets are. With lots of pauses in between my speeches. As I ponder my monologue about life and the cruel hand that has dealt me. And how the city has changed. And how I no longer recognize myself. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be playing The Roottrees Are Dead. Is this a bit loud? I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Yeah, that's a bit better. You can't see the smoke, but there's smoke. Smoke everywhere. The whole city smells the smoke. It's like its thing. I think something just fell over. I don't know what. But that's another mystery for another time. The Roottrees Are Dead, guys. This is a game that came out earlier this year. How are you all doing, by the way? I don't think I have introduced us. Is everyone having a good Saturday? Is everyone watching Nintendo Direct? It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I'm very, very excited for the new Fire Emblem. I'm gonna be brief about my thoughts about it because I've got a whole reaction video that is available now on the YouTube VOD channel. I really should do a separate thing for like stuff that isn't VODs, but I don't do as much of it, so it feels a bit pointless at the moment. Maybe one day, if I make content that isn't just Twitch VODs, which I'd like to do, but it's just the timing and just how long it takes to do something like that. Anyway, I'm very excited for new Fire Emblem. I'm really looking forward to Metroid Prime 4 finally coming out. We've got a release date, which is excellent. And yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. But I'm struggling to remember off the top of my head because yeah, I don't quite know why. Anyway, we're playing the Roottrees Dead today. This is a game that came out earlier this year, as I said minutes ago, before I interrupted myself. It is a mystery game. We are going to... I think we're going to solve a murder, but I think we're also going to delve deep into the family tree and figure out what happened. And it's gonna be, I think it's a point-and-click adventure. I don't actually know that much about this game. I just heard it was very, very highly rated, and I can't remember what it was when it came out, but someone was talking about it, and I was like, oh, that seems very up my street. So I like bought it immediately, and I haven't got around to playing it yet. And it's been on my Steam backlog for since it came out, and I've just been like, yeah, I'll get to it, and now I'm finally doing it. So I'm looking forward to messing around with whatever this is going to be. So why don't we just start a new game and get to it. Roottrees is dead. The mystery begins here. Roottrees is loading. Oh yeah, I do know this is set like in 1998, so it's got very early internet, late 90s vibes to it, which I'm all about, guys. December 6th, 1998. 2 days before my 7th birthday.
The plane that crashed last night just outside of Pittsburgh is now known to have been the private jet of the Roottrees Corporation. Local aviation authorities have speculated, based on the pilot's final communication, that the winter storm and heavy winds played a significant role in the crash. On board were multiple family members, including corporate president Carl Roottrees and his daughters, the Roottrees sisters, best known for their fashion lines and modeling careers. There were no survivors. Again, for those of you just joining us, the Roottrees are dead.
He said the name of the thing!
I know it's late, but I'm guessing you've seen the news. In addition to dealing with the grief, the Roottrees company's lawyers are scrambling. Everything's about to change. Anyone proven to be a blood relative is about to get much richer.
Well, convenient for them.
To ensure everyone is accounted for. I've heard you're an expert at sorting out complicated family trees. A genealogy genie, as it were.
Oh. Whoever wrote that line must have... I hope they took the day off after they wrote that.
I'm going to give you a quick test. Pass, and I can promise you the job of a lifetime.
Uh-oh. Complete the family tree of the Roottrees sisters. Siblings in birth order. Eldest to youngest. Examine my evidence, search to insert the clues, fill in the names, fill in the occupations, fill in the photos. Sleuth! Okay, so what can we look at? So we've got evidence. Cool. Got milk picture. List of names. This will provide you with a mysterious person who opened the door. You need to fill in the family tree. That's a lot of names. Right, so presumably they're gonna be one of these. There's quite a lot of them. So, we're gonna be here a while. Right, so it's gonna be a woman, so it's gonna be one of those. Can't click on them, it's fine. Let's go on the internet. Or can we just play Minesweeper? That seems more fun. Negotiate the connection. Handshaking, acknowledging, preparing. Connected! Spider search. Can we just... The Roottrees family? First few pages are filled with news results about the plane crash. Besides that, there are countless advertisements and conversations about the various products made by the Roottrees Candy Company. Most articles mention Carl Roottrees, who is the president of the Roottrees Candy Company, and his daughters are also eulogized. Twins of Roottrees sisters, they've been famous from a very early age. So let's look up the Roottrees sisters. A lot of Roottrees focus on the Roottrees modeling careers. We also come across a Roottrees fan site seemingly created by a teenager. It's neon pink with purple text, of course it is, and hard to read until you highlight the words. The young webmaster writes, Rihanna is the most famous, that's because she's the eldest and married to TMS. Right, so daughter. I've got a notepad in case I need to write anything down. So Roottrees. So I'm going to core members. It was Carl. He's the patriarch. Father. Oh, and that's Raina. Why would I say Rihanna? I don't know. So Raina is the most famous because she's the oldest and got married to TMS. Right, so daughter, eldest, Rose, daughter, middle, I'm also going to note that she was married. That Raina is married to TMS. I don't know who that is, but I can probably figure that out fairly quickly by looking at the back of the names. And Riley is the youngest one. You might think they're rich just because they're models and their dad is the president of the candy company and their mum, Brenda, is a fashion designer. Right, so Brenda as the mum. Who I'm guessing wasn't in the... Was she in the plane? On the plane? Because she wasn't mentioned. You might think they're rich to models, but their dad's also the president of the candy company and mum Brenda is a fashion designer. They do modelling for her brand Root. I eat Root candy all the time. My favourite are maple crisps, and I try to dress in plaid Root. Clothes like Riley does in most of the posters, but I don't want to get my ears pierced like Rose. The other websites often continues to talk about her own life and what she likes about the Roots. Fashion lines, but none of it is relevant. Okay. So I think we're okay for internet searches at the moment. Let's disconnect. Welcome to your notepad. In each page, other than this one, you can jot down important information such as names, family relationships, marital status, sibling count, or anything else you'd like to remember. Page titles can be renamed to make it easier to remember what you've written on each one. Highlight any text you on the web browser or enable the quick option to add your notes. Damn it! Why did I realize that before I started like making notes on paper? So highlight any text in your web browser evidence to the quick option to add it to your notes. Check onto your notepad and save them when you quit the game. Don't forget to check them when you return. Okay, so cousins, people that share the same grandparents, not the same parents. Second cousins and third cousins. Oh, this always trips me up with us. People that share the same great grandparents but not the same grandparents. People that share the same great great grandparents but not the same great grandparents. Jesus. Families are complicated, guys. K-12 stands for kindergarten, 12th grade. It's kindergarten to 12th grade. This includes all schooling from ages 5 to 18. Schools produce yearbooks, which are albums of stage photos of students, typically with solid colour or cloudy backgrounds. Okay, I'm going to have this as Roottrees. I'm basically going to write down what I just already wrote, but it's fine. No, because I'm Zip Carol. Patriarch. Patriarch father. Patriarch sounds really father, CEO of company. Brenda. Another CEO of Root. Raina, eldest daughter, married to TMS. Rose, not Ruggers, middle daughter. And Riley, youngest daughter. Save notes. Okay. So let's go back to here. So interestingly, Brenda doesn't come under the Roundtree name. So we've got to find her here. That's not relevant for what we're right now, but it's just good for us to know. Brenda White. And say E. White. Should be some fancy French accent on that, but it doesn't have that option, so. Right, so we know who the daughters are. A little picture. The person who hired you gave you this photo with a note attached. This was taken during the school shoot for the Roottrees sisters Got Milk ad. I tracked down a test photo before they painted their fake moustaches on, which I thought would be more appropriate considering in the circumstances. The ad's copy reads, "You might recognise our faces from the magazine you're reading, or you might recognise our name from the candy bar you're eating. Being a Roottree is a full-time job, but so is growing up. That's why the calcium found in milk is so important. Plus you can't make chocolate without it." Can we take a closer look? No, there's no names, that's obviously helpful. Just having a look at some of the other options. So we know this is Raina. Then we have Rose. Oh, wait, hang on. Interesting. So that's not her actual name. Okay. Well, at least can do... and she's married to TMS, so last name would be S, so it'd be something like Thomas Sheridan then. I'm going to add that to my notebook. This is wrong. Not actual name. So I guess if we go back onto the internet and do a quick search. Is there anyone who like could be a these names who could be a known as Rose? We need to get their occupations as well, so that's... Have a look at this. Oh, 56k modem. Cashew PCs are inedible. Please do not train your computer. So I'm going to do a search for Rose Roundtree, because see if we can get her actual name. Roottrees. No, Roundtree is a different, unrelated Sweet's Popular. Rose Roottrees is not as popular as her older sister Raina, but still very well known. Most time they're lumped together as the Roottrees sisters, which results with Rose by herself don't lead to anything different in them when searching for sisters together. Okay, so let's do Raina. So I can get an idea of her job and see if there's any other information we can get, possibly as a result of this. And it'd be good if I spell her name correctly. Yeah, I still keep calling him Roundtree. Yeah. Collaboration focused on Roottrees sisters. Blah blah blah. I mean, I guess they're all models, so that in theory. And then we'll probably just get the same results. Yeah. Oh, okay. So Riley dresses in plaid. So that's who I know. So we can figure that one out from the... Plaid. Rose has pierced ears. And right, so Raina is only puts to be able to add the family tree. It's doing evidence tab. Okay. Right, so Riley's the one in the middle. Rose is that one, and that means that's Raina by process of elimination. And really sure they were models. I know her name. What if we do a search for Carl Roottrees? See if we get like an obituary. Or like just any family information. Once you finish, Carl Roottrees died in a recent plane crash along with his wife Brenda Roottrees and their daughters, the Roottrees sisters. He was president of the Roottrees Candy Company as well as the clothing company Roots, which he co-founded with his wife. According to the news sites, the Roottrees Candy Company plans to put out a press release sometime within the hour to address the absence of Carl, the crash, and questions they have been receiving. Once you have finished placing the Roottrees sisters on the family tree, it might be wise to repeat the search. Yep, fair enough. Actually, what if we just do search for Root? Okay, so it always has a period in it. Those searches that's case sensitive. If you're searching for something specific, you should keep an eye on how it's spelled. Roots is a clothing company that makes clothes for children from toddlers to teenagers. Although their website is down, likely due to increased web traffic, you can find countless retail sites attempting to advertise their clothes towards their target audience. What has this to say? You spied the Roottrees sisters looking hella fly on catalogs, magazines, and posters. Now you too can be like Riley, Rose, or Raina. You also come across a website from a collector of clothing catalogs. Apparently, Root has at least 2 catalogs per year, every year since 1984. And Raina has written almost all of them. There's only one webmaster that the webmaster considers a collector's item enough to mention. It seems that Brenda Roottrees, the Roottrees sisters' mother and Root's head designer, appeared on one cover with her daughter Rose in 1985. The site says this is the only time her daughter was ever listed with her birth name, Carly Roottrees. Bingo, got it. Should probably mention that in the notes. These are 3 entries that are correct and have been locked. Note the following optional entry. Thomas Sheridan. Booyah!
Sorry to test you, but I had to be sure you could use the internet. Some folks refuse to get with the times. Safe to say, you're hired. The reward for untangling the family tree is substantial. Life-changing, even.
I'm
Here's
listening.
the catch. The Roottrees go way, way back. The family tree's a bit daunting. Most people freak out the first time they see the whole thing. But I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah.
The man who started
sure
it
we
was
will.
particular about whom he considered family. For your purposes, you only need his direct blood relatives.
Oh, good. I bet there's going to be loads of people who aren't direct
Anyone
blood
related
relatives.
only by marriage is optional, but filling them in can lead to useful discoveries. Lastly, you now have access to some unique websites, plus a list of notable Roottrees. Notable people are easy to find via your search engine, and marked with stars on the family tree. I'm off for now. Carl Roottree had a lot in his office. I'll look for anything useful. I'll return once you identify 6 more blood relatives. Sorry, one last thing. This might sound odd, but if anyone else claiming to represent the Roottrees reaches out, I'd appreciate you not mentioning I was here. Thank you, and good luck.
Interesting. So who is this mystery person? Do we think it's... I was gonna say you think it's Brenda, but I don't think it is. Okay. Sleuth! For the person who hides you returns, every time you get 3 additional blood relatives in the family tree completely correct, name, location, and portrait, they will be locked in. All non-blood relatives and small portraits are optional, but placing them in the tree helps remove extra names and photos. This is very Obra Dinn-esque, I'm realising, which is probably like why I was really drawn to playing this game in the first place. Open this envelope after the whole family tree has been filled in. There's 2 names that must be typed in manually. Clues are obscure or have potentially hidden in the past, may even require some leaps in logic. Try to keep an eye out for any inconsistencies. Okay, so... It is really big and daunting. So I think we can safely assume this is going to be, if this is obviously the father, so that's going to be Carl Roottree. And it's Brenda White. And CEO. Right, let's look at the evidence we have. Story so far. The Roottree sisters and their parents died in a plane crash on December 6, 1998. Next evening, a shadow figure appeared to you at the door and said the lawyers were looking to sort out the family tree. After a quick test, the figure gave you no access. Okay, we don't need to read this, we've just done this. Notable Roottrees. The Roottree sisters, Carl Roottree, Elias and Gwyneth Roottree, Gwyn Roottree, Red Roottree, Jim Roottree, Lauren Roottree, Miracle Jr. Easy to find online. And about intuition. This is a list of notable Roottrees. The person who hired you gave you this list and said everyone on it can be found easily via your search engine. Carl Roottree, Elias, and Gwyneth, Gwyn, Red, Jim Roottree, any entry in the family tree that belongs to someone in this list will mark the star. Notable Roottrees will be crossed out after they're verified and locked. Roottree 5 pieces. This is an advertisement for 5 pieces aimed at kids from the magazine Teen Blast. It mentioned that 5 pieces were named as such because the original curator had 5 children. It also mentions that the current 5 flavours were not the same as back then. There's elderberry anyway. Cool chocolate, bad blue raspberry, so strawberry, power plum, awesome apple. Do you want to learn about intuition? You've been at this line of work a long time, so long in fact you've developed a 6th sense of how useful your evidence can be. Numbers in the magnifying glass refer to how many clues are connected to a specific piece of evidence. The higher number, the more there is to find. Start your search. At the start of the search, the notables list sets off alarm bells. List of famous people that you can find via search engine. It's pretty rare to get something that useful. Now take advantage of it. As you progress, these numbers will change. Whether you find more evidence or lock in family members, new discoveries will be added to the list and old evidence will become less useful. Trust your intuition. A piece of evidence seems too good to be true. Take a look at the people or phrases it mentioned. Often the most satisfying revelations come from retracing a path you thought was fully explored under a new perspective. Sometimes the reason certain evidence has such high value is because it can lead to finding more evidence. You may be missing a huge piece of the puzzle. Okay, so let's go into our notebook. And let's amend this. Change that to T out of the way. Yep. I'm gonna say notable Roottrees. Aside from Carl, I'm gonna say other notable Roottrees. Elias and Gwyneth. Can't spell. Gwyn. Miracle Junior. Okay. I reckon we should go do it on the internet and do a search about these. Okay, so let's do Elias and Gwyneth Roottrees. Elias Roottrees is the founder and first president of the Roottrees Candy Company. You find what is essentially a propaganda site about him created by the Roottrees Candy Company. At the top there is a picture of him and his wife Gwyneth. I'm going to... that picture is added to your evidence. There's also a biography section that has some additional information. Elias is credited for inventing 5 pieces, popular maple candy, for the family inherited by marrying his wife, only to produce syrup. Okay, after 5 pieces became wildly successful, 5 pieces became wildly successful, Elias spent his time and energy cementing his reputation as a family man. He quotes on the site saying, "Blood is thicker than spit syrup. Any child linked to blood by me shall be linked to blood to my legacy." The site enthusiastically claimed he made good on that promise, but offers no additional detail. There are a few more quotes about Elias from a book called Family Man, The Roottrees Legacy by Bess Williams. To say they are biased is a massive understatement. Below that, there is a long list of his accomplishments and awards, and one that stands out. Like his great-grandson Carl, Elias was voted Watchman of the Year. I'm going to copy that because I think that's interesting. I'm also going to inherited by marrying his wife. And he produced syrup, so we're going to need like what if we search Gwyneth? Find this information on the website First Anderson Maple Farm. A few pictures and a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth. Photos have been added to evidence. Before marrying Elias, Gwyneth Roottrees was Gwyneth Anderson. She had no brothers, so as the oldest sister, she married to inherit. She was to inherit. So as the oldest sister, she was to inherit the Anderson maple farm, so long as she married. Before Elias took over, the farm produced only syrup. It was supposedly Elias's idea to create candy instead. Their success was not immediate until they decided to combine the maple with other flavours. This led to 5 pieces, which are still found in stores to this day. Though the Roottrees Candy Company expanded well beyond their original farm, it has been preserved as a tourist attraction. According to their website, there are still daily demonstrations and educational tours that show off many of the turn-of-the-century appliances that Gwyneth would have used as a housewife in the early 1900s. Right, so I'm going to put that in my notes. I should maybe... keep that there. And then I'm going to go back into our family tree. Supposedly he is right at the start. I'm going to zoom in. Too much. Next No Wait by... Where is... Of course it'll be Elias and Gwyneth Anderson. And she was a housewife. Well, what did he do before? I guess he was technically a CEO, I guess, but I don't know if that's a term they would use in 1908. This founder is an option? No. It's fine, we'll keep that for now. Let's have a look at our evidence. It's Elias and Gwyneth. This is a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth Roottrees. It was taken in 1909 after they founded the Roottrees Candy Company, but before it was a success. For what you found searching the internet, it seems quite different from anything about Elias and Gwyneth that isn't accompanied by this picture. Elias and Gwyneth are on the notable Roottrees listing their evidence. They'll be marked with a chart with a star. Interestingly, she hasn't been locked in. Maybe I have to lock in him as well. Oh, okay, I need to 3 more correct relatives. Go to the PC. Public library. Actually, crap. I think I had it in my notes. So I need to know what he did before he founded the company. And what she did as well. I forgot his name, and that was right there. Family Man, the Roottrees Legacy. And that's by Bess Williams. No book about Elias Roottrees. There is no downloadable version available because the book is impossible to find these days. God damn it. Periodicals. We don't have any keywords for that. If I do another, hang on, can I? And some maples. I'm gonna say farmer, actually. And for him, I'm going to put first president. And then we can do Carl. We'll have to do a search. We can do another search for him, I guess. Carl Roottrees died in a recent plane crash along with his wife, Brenda Roottrees, and their daughters, the Roottrees sisters. He was president of the Roottrees Candy Company as well as the clothing company Root. Harry found his wife, and there was a short press release that Roottrees Candy Company released today to news organisations. December 6th, 1998. It is with a heavy heart that we mourn the loss of Carl, Brenda, the Roottrees sisters, and the other employees that perished in the terrible tragedy. The entire Roottrees family is in shock and requesting privacy at this time. As the head of our company, Carl was an incredible man and an unmatched leader. Filling his absence will be difficult and may take considerable time. In the interim, we hope that you will join us in looking back fondly on Carl and his family's triumphs and accomplishments. We go on to list some of these accomplishments. One of them seems relevant to your search. Like his great-grandfather for him, Carl earned the highly prestigious Watchman of the Year title. What if I search that? What does that mean? Business Watch magazine is a magazine focused on companies, CEOs, and the economy. They have been around for over 100 years in one form or another, and will often write about major changes in management of famous companies. Every year they offer an award to a prominent businessman who has furthered the field. They call this the Watchman of the Year. You find a few searches that two Roottrees have been featured as Watchman of the Year: Elias Roottrees and Carl Roottrees. Business Watch does not host any online articles on any site you can find via Spider Search, although you may be able to find individual articles and issues for your periodical search. So let's do Business Watch, and I'll say Elias. Elias Roottrees was awarded Watchman of the Year in 1936 for his accomplishment in rolling out the 5 pieces to a global market. Notes from the article and the scan has been made. Notes in the article and a scan from this may have been added to your evidence. And if we say Carl Roottrees voted Watchman of the Year in 1987 for his work with Root. You have a cover and a summary of the article has been added to your evidence. Nice. Get rid of that. Elias Roottrees was voted Watchman of the Year by Business Watch in 1956, and a painting of him appears on the cover. The magazine says he was voted Watchman of the Year specifically to recognise the global rollout of 5 pieces. In the article, inside the article is a timeline of 5 pieces. 1908. Elias formed the Roottrees Candy Company after marrying his wife, who inherited a maple farm. During the period before 5 pieces, the company is barely profitable. Can I take a photo of that? Cool. 1909. Elias has a daughter, the first of 5 children. 4 more follow, leading to 1922. Elias invents 5 pieces. Each of the 5 flavors is chosen based on the initials of 5 children. 1 flavor per child. Interesting. 5 pieces are sold in some Pittsburgh markets. 5 pieces are all in New England. 1928. New recipe and flavor are finalized, and the candy begins nationwide distribution in department stores and other candy stores, other shops everywhere. 1935. The Roottrees Candy Company purchases every available maple farm in Pennsylvania in preparation of their global rollout. With the help of his son, Elias Roottrees Jr.'s architecture firm, a new industrialized factory and warehouse are built in Butler County. 1986, production is tripled and worldwide distribution begins. There is also a What's Next section that claims Elias is going to pivot, ensuring his company's legacy and the Roottrees Candy Company remains a family business. Plans to do this with the Clancy Trust. Okay, so if we look back at the evidence, So, the 5 pieces were named because the creator created 5 children, and it's the initials of their 5 children. Current flavor is not the same as back then, so that's these aren't the modern, the original ones. But obviously we have Elderberry, which would have been Elias Jr. Right? We know he has a daughter who's the first of 5 children, so right, we need that one anyway. Carl Roottrees was voted Watchman of the Year in 1987. The photo of him appears on the cover. According to the cover, Business Watch is the magazine for and about corporate leaders, and there's ongoing coverage of a who is who in the corporate road. Carl was chosen not for his work at Roottrees Candy, but rather a clothing company, Roots. It has a brief history. Before they married, Carl's wife Brenda was a fashion consultant. When Raina was born, Brenda retired to become a stay-at-home mother. Looking for a creative outlet, she spent any free time she had at the sewing machine. Raina's new clothes were a hit with other parents, including Carl's cousin Jim Roottrees, a notable singer who had a young daughter around the same age as Raina. Word spread. Okay, right. So Carl's cousin has a so it's one of these. Is he a notable? I mean, he's a notable singer. Yes, he is. Okay, brilliant. I know which one he is. We don't have a photo of him, but we have a name. Or do we? Okay, yeah, it would be James. Duh. And he was a singer. Okay, so I'll be under musician then. Right, let's go back to the article. When spread by history, Brenda's patents were being copied of a brand. Seen demand, Carl and his second cousin Ernie Jr., who had just become president of Roottrees at the time. Interesting. Spearheaded Root. Other blood relatives who have a say in the company's finances refused to fund anything other than candy. So Carl personally spent his entire inheritance trying to bankroll the clothing company. When the profits began to appear, however, the rest of the family changed their tune. They repaid his investment, and now Root exists under the umbrella of the candy company, and they all benefit. Per tradition, perhaps superstition, new clothes always debuted the way the first ones did. Raina became the catalog's cover model, and she grew. The product line expanded to older kids as well. Her young sisters were then recruited to show off the baby clothes. Carl was rated Watchman of the Year primarily for his personal gamble and the ensuing payoff. Right, so I'm going to copy that. I will reorder these and move stuff around and make it more cleaner and more organized at some point. I'm also going to Copy that. So Carl and his second cousin. So I have to remember the bit. So it's grandparents. Associated with distant cousins, people that share the same great grandparents. So that would be Elias. No. Yeah, Elias would be the great grandparent of one of these. So it's somewhere on this level. Obviously I haven't got anything. Always use the person's most recent occupation. Right, so she's gonna be she'll be a housewife then. Okay, let's try and figure out some of these other ones. So we need Gwyn Rootree. I'm guessing is the eldest daughter, maybe? Okay. I'm gonna say Gwyn. What about Red Rootree? Aloysius Herring Rootree, aka Red Rootree, was an appointed judge and a politician who earned his nickname ironically because he was the ambassador to Ireland for only about 6 days. Okay, right? He served what some people contend is the shortest term in history. A few days after he was appointed, he was heard disparaging his position and the Irish people. Great job, man. He was then tried to run for state senate. He claimed to be related to a Rootree Candy Company in a newspaper ad that came out. The last name was merely a coincidence, and he was defeated in a landslide. So what? Why is he on the list of notable Rootrees? So clearly he must be. Okay, well let's leave him for a minute and let's see if we can find Gwyn. I just got it. It's called Red and his middle name is Herring because he's a red herring. So dumb. This is gonna be a long series, guys. Okay, so Gwyn spelled with 2 N's, that's why it wasn't coming across. You find some information on the website, but old films are not yet available on VHS. The site is not very well organised, and the search is broken. but you can get to individual pages from your search engine. Gwyn Roottrees is a somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 1950s. She has often appeared in tabloids, especially around the time of her highly publicised divorce. Her biggest role was the minor hit movie Guys Like Us. She left Hollywood after the flop of Christmas Mission. There's a widely circulated picture of Gwyn from behind the scenes of one of her movies, which you've added to her evidence. Did you know, trivia? Gwyn was the granddaughter of Elias Roottrees, founder of Roottrees Candy. She shouldn't have been named Roottrees, but her father took her mother's famous name, which was quite rare those days. Okay. So she's the granddaughter of Elias. Which doesn't... Wait, hang on. She's the granddaughter of Elias and says she had a famous divorce. So she's going to be this one then. I should add some of this stuff. Copy this, some of this across. And then we can add her name to here, because she'll be this one, because she's the only one granddaughter who got divorced, so that makes that a lot easier. Right, goes into evidence. And we need Gwyn. And she is an actor. And we need to go to our evidence, where we should have a photo of her. So this is why you photo of Gwyn Roottrees. We've seen multiple websites about old films. You want to use on the notable Roottrees list in your evidence. You should be marking your chart with a star. Well done. These three entries are correct and have been locked. It's not the following optional entry. Right, Brenda. Booyah. So, if he's not under CEO, then what is he? Then what would he be? I guess maybe 5th president? Anyway, right, so we've got Gwyn down. Who else is notable here? We could do such a GM, even though because we'll need a photo of him anyway, and he'll be because he's notable. That should be there. James Roottrees is a singer who sings in the duo Jim and Diamond with his wife Diamond LaRue. The duo, according to many sources you find, is a one-hit wonder due to the disco song Rolling On Down to the City. It's now in your evidence folder. Though Jim writes the majority of the songs, plays the guitar and often sings, Diamond is considered by fans to be the band's lead singer. The band never had another hit, but it has its fans, who refer to themselves as the Diamond's Dazzlers. Oh, I bet he loves that. The rest of the music is more folksy and acoustic for the one song they're known for. Jim and Diamond have continued to release music for the 80s and early 90s. The other albums mentioned are Cherry Tree and Sound of Laughter. Jim has become a bit of a recluse and hasn't made a public appearance since 1996. I'm going to copy that into here. Save that note. Roll on down to the city. Rolling Down the City was barely a top 20 hit for the 30 weeks in 1979. According to the liner notes, it satirizes how part of society was content to remain indifferent to the economic inflation and civil unrest in the Middle East. Unless pop culture tricked them into caring. Somewhat ironically, listeners didn't seem to pay attention to the lyrics enough to trick them into caring. Instead, most of the Let's Play came from roller discos. Because it's such a product of its time, it doesn't get much play anymore, even on stations that play oldies. Maybe that's why you've never heard of it until before now. This image is from an auction for a sealed copy. It has a sticker that says, "Only the great-grandson of Elias Roottrees to make disco this sweet." It's credited to Peter Janowitz from MMM. Music notes by Jim Roottrees, vocals by Jim Roottrees and Dan LaRue. Jim Roottrees is on notable list. Lyrics to the song contain no clues. Good to know. But we have a photo. And that'd be LaRue. And also we're gonna put in that as well. So who's next? Just kind of notes. Lauren Roottrees. We'll give her a search. Author Lauren Roottrees, a distant relative of the Roottrees sisters, is best known for her book A Life Between Wars. According to a website about famous authors, in the early 1960s, Lauren released a few romance novels under her married name, Lauren Rafferty, to little fanfare. When her publisher learned she had been keeping diaries about a famous family, they insisted she release them under her original name, Lauren Roottrees, to take advantage of her family's notoriety. The selection of diary entries with 1965 as A Life Between Wars spans from the untimely death of her husband in World War II to coping with the post-war world as a young widow and mother, as well as her perspectives on the changing times and socialites all the way through the entry into Vietnam. While the content is not considered particularly relevant to modern audiences, it has found new life as an exercise in high school English classes, showing evolution in writing style, and for a look into life in previous generations. After the success of her diaries, her publisher re-released her romance novels under the name Lauren Roottrees. This included Romance and Court, which gained popularity. She followed the re-release by writing two new sequels, creating what fans refer to as the Court Jester series. We find no recent details about Lauren, although she is listed as retired. Interesting. Okay, so she is marked as a distant relative. I wonder if we can find anything. This could be under Rafferty or Roottrees. A Life Between. Published 1965, hardcover, student edition, Revelation 1993. You seem to hit the jackpot here. This book occasionally needs taught in schools. However, you find a hardcover edition for students as a full-page, high-quality pictures in it. Summary of the contents of the book, photos, as well as some particularly relevant entries from the diary have been added to your evidence. Okay, brilliant. One of the final entries is called Clark from Lauren Roottrees' diary, written in 1964. Clark's getting married, and in my opinion, far too young. He's barely 18 for God's sake. And Danielle isn't much older. Apparently, confronting him would make me a hypocrite. After all, Jacob and I got married at 16. Clark, like the rest of his generation, is a free spirit. What else do you call a group of kids growing up with more money than any one person can spend? We all aspire to be musicians and artists and dancers and all sorts of nonsense. The only one who has any discipline is Carl, but that's because Pop forced Clancy to them to the academy. Right, so Clancy is... I've got a name. for Carl's father. Oh, he's gonna be Clancy Jr., isn't he? If he's the younger one, which means that's gonna be Clancy Edwards. And I'm gonna guess President 4th. No, I'm not gonna. We're not doing that. Anyway, this Pop Cut forced Clancy to send to the academy. Maybe I'm getting old, but our generation was never so bad. My brothers all seemed to pursue paths of knowledge, and the most rebellious thing that any of us ever did was bring home someone who would be illegal to marry if we lived anywhere south of Pennsylvania. Pop seems to have gotten over it because Edward was set to take over his apartment once he retires. As for me, my first published book, Swashbuckle My Heart, is based on the pirate stories I used to invent with Jacob when we were walking in the woods after school. I think he'd be proud that Clark and I are carrying on his name. Even my cousin's doing well. Zach's not a bad president after all, and his sister seems to be doing a good job raising her twins. Gwyn is Gwyn, but at least she came out of the divorce with her head held high. She even told she might come home next year so we can meet her kids. But they're free spirits. And then in our family they all vent up on the streets. Even Clark. So... I'm wondering which... I reckon it's probably going to be this one. I think that's Lauren. Maybe I need to read up some more of the evidence. There's quite a lot here. A diary entry entitled Sam from Lauren Roottrees' diary in 1963. Previous entry, hang on. Let's go from the start here. Lauren notes and observations he made while skimming through Lauren Roottrees' diary pages life between wars. Lauren Roottrees is notable Roottrees in evidence, blah blah blah. Explosion 1965, with consistent diary stretch from 1940 to 1965. There's a more event though, much of the diary and Lauren's thoughts revolve around, and was the loss of her husband Jacob. Jacob died in the final months of World War II while Lauren was pregnant. This left her to raise her son Clark alone. Lauren never remarried and only had one child. By skimming pages, you glean the following information. She was the granddaughter. Hang on. I'm going to read this in a second. I'm just going to add to my notes first. Okay, so by skimming the page's diary, you glean the following information. She was the granddaughter of Elias and Gwyneth on her father's side. Her mother's family was called the Costells, but she hardly ever mentions them. And her father, who she always referred to as Pop, was the head lawyer for the Roottrees Candy Company and helped write a legal document called the Clance Trust. Okay, so it's granddaughter of Elias and Gwyneth on her father's side. So I think she would be this one. And would she be retired, or would she be written down? Would she be down as? Okay, she'd be down as an author then. Got it. These entries are correct and have been locked. Let's lock the following option entries. Booyah.
You're on a roll. I'll try to keep that momentum going. Carl's office was a mess, thanks to some burst pipes.
What are the odds?
But I unearthed a photo from a 1970s Roottrees reunion. I also found some important looking papers. You've traced 9 blood relatives so far. I'll have more to share after you find 9 more.
Well, let's look at some more of this evidence then. Entry contained complaints from Lauren's diary. This entry seems to focus specifically on one of Lauren's family members, Gwyn, who was on Nicola Roottrees' list. Seems everyone and has something to complain about. Gwyn has an only child complaining of loneliness. I told her that being expected to watch after 3 younger brothers as didn't feel like a blessing but fell on deaf ears. During the summer when I went to stay with her and Aunt Margot, I hoped that she would be the sister I never had and I'd do the same for her. Even tried to dye my hair blonde to fit in with the 2 of them. What a mess. But she just complained. To her, I was the lucky cousin. Right, so she has an Aunt Margot. We'll add that as the optional. So that's going to be her. Margot's a great name. Oh, I guess it'd be Margolite, wouldn't it? Unless there is... And her husband was Jacob. Who I can't find on... There it is, Jacob Rafferty. And their son was Clark. Who should be here somewhere, but there he is. Of course he'll be on the Rafferty. Anyway, during summer I didn't say blah blah. Now she's off living the glamorous life while I'm stuck here with Clark. I must admit seeing her everywhere contributes to my unhappiness. Her visage stares at me now, even now from my coffee table. She gets to be in Starlet and tells tales of how she gallivants around the world, kissing the likes of Harrison Lane and Wild Bill Williams. She's the first Roottrees family to be anything other than a housewife, and I'm jealous. If I were not a single mother, could I make my own way in this world? But I am off topic. A girl with all the luck in the world was jealous of me. Now I have been undoubtedly burdened by a terrible tragedy. I'm also lucky to be born into a family that can support me for eternity. I can raise a child without worry, unlike countless other widows. If any of them were to hear me complaining, they would rightly scoff like I do at Gwyn. Dynasty! Tell entire dynasty from Lauren and Roottrees' diary. Focusing on the idea of Grandfather Alias announced he would step down as president of the Roottrees Company, and the immediate meeting to determine his successor. I wish I had been a fly on the wall today. Clancy told me that everyone got heated. Granddad was furious none of his sons would take over as president, but that's what he gets for holding on to it for so long. With architects, preachers, and lawyers, nobody's got time for Candy. So with the 5 pieces refusing to set up, it came down to us next gens. Pop argued at length that the company should stay with our branch of the family, since we all still have the Roottree name. I'm not even sure Clancy would have wanted it, but he's the one who volunteered. Instead, ended up going to Zach. Even though his surname doesn't match the Candy, he's the firstborn son of the firstborn. He's the firstborn son of the firstborn 5 pieces. The firstborn 5 piece. I'm not sure how that's relevant to running the company, but Granddad has always had very particular views when it came to his bloodline. I asked Clancy if it ever came up that a woman could take over. After all, Angie's older than Zach. Let's keep a note of this. And I'm the oldest of us all. And next oldest of us all. But he just laughed. I never forget the cuss words Pop used when he told Ma he wouldn't go to us. Mother, ever the quick-witted, at least with catchy remarks, counted back, maybe if they wanted it to go to the only member of the family who looks like he samples the product. Very funny. I'm going to highlight this, put my notes under like, I'm going to say succession. So he's the firstborn son of the firstborn 5-piece. So he would be this one? No, wait, firstborn son of the firstborn 5-piece, so he's one of these two. I don't know which one. They're not notable anyway at the moment, so that's fine. Who have we got left on our notable list to find? We have found Lauren. Red is a red herring. So I guess it's just down to Miracle Jr. then. Let's get the old thingy up. Miracle Jr. doesn't go by his full name of promotional materials, and just shortened it to Miracle Jr. Miracle Jr. is a televangelist who was part of the Miracle Network. He used to have a show that aired on local access and across many stations in the northwestern United States. According to a website called Clergy Watch, he was exposed and subsequently charged with conspiracy to defraud the public in 1979 when he claimed to heal someone in a wheelchair. A news expose revealed that his wife Edith's sister in disguise. The author also didn't mention that Edith was a bit of a checkered past herself. It doesn't clarify. He has since lost his television show and instead goes on tour across the southern United States, where he is not well known before the scandal. Ooh, okay. Let's highlight this. So where does he fit in then? His wife Edith. So he's married to someone called Edith. So her father was a lawyer. We know that. Which would make sense if he wrote the Clance Trust. Someone called Clancy. Clance Ed. Makes sense. We don't have an Edith, so I don't know. Let's have a look at some more of our evidence. Sam, an obscure relative, including family gatherings. Gwyneth had been pushing to agree to Sam some time. Ron writes, "Why Sam? I have distant relatives that I've never met. After all, Granny had sisters, and Grandad had a brother or two. I was told trim their branches from the family tree. So why is Sam special? Nothing adds up. I'm not the only one to realise. And you summoned all the next gens to a secret meeting in Zach's office. Gwyn's in Paris, but the rest of us, including Miracle's boys, I spent ages trying to unravel the mystery. I didn't recognise Sam at Uncle Junior's wedding to Patsy last year. At the reception, I was asked who Sam was. Pops shushed and said to me it was complicated. Clancy swore he saw Sam working alongside the farmhands EC and John when he used to drive past the old Anderson farm on his way to work. Upon hearing that, Zach checked the records and managed to confirm all three are in the books. Eli, Miracle's youngest, not my brother, even chimed in. Apparently when he was riding his mini bike along the farm a few weeks ago, Sam gave him some old tools and taught him how to make the bike's engine faster. None of us think that Bob for multiple reasons, but Eli seemed thrilled. At the end of the day, I've explained why an outsider is cozy into family affairs, especially one who works on the farm of all places. What happened to blood is thicker than syrup? Why is Grandad making an exception now? Right, and we've... sorry, I really should have had another look at this. Because now we have Clark's wife, who I think he divorces, Danielle. Yeah, looks like they break up. Zach becomes president. Well, you know, he becomes president. Here's a photo note. This photo has no attached. From your employer. Here's a bonus. When I pulled the water damage picture of the free spirits out of the frame, this fell out too. When the book of photos couldn't make the reunion. Wishing you all the best. Wishing well from Paris. Gwyn and the boys. Okay. So that is... That's now a photo of Gwyn. Who are the boys? And they had kids, maybe? So I'm gonna... I think this one is gonna be Miracle Jr. Which will mean this will be Miracle. And there's something about one of them being a preacher, and if he's a televangelist, actually, what do we have in our notes about him? Crud, I need to go back on the internet. goes on to doing what though? Let's do. Found a website for the Miracle Network, a production company owned by the Miracle Roottrees estate. Its bare bones was the following blurb. Witness testimonies of the Miracle's Roottrees. Miracle Roottrees arrived so late in his mother's life that doctors swore he wouldn't survive the first year. His mother and father, Elias and Gwyneth, named him Miracle because they thought it was impossible. He was younger than his brothers and sisters by over 14 years. Birthed that late, the final child of the generation was nearly torn apart by countless health problems. But still, with the power of God on his side, he persevered. He triumphed over these complications and even regained his sight to spread the healing word of the Almighty. 23 years later, Miracle Roottrees Jr. arrived became the famous family's second vessel for the higher power. At 18, he unburdened himself from the Roottrees name, took his father's testimony to a whole new level. By the power of television, Miracle Jr. spread the gospel all across the entire New England. He has since left the life of glamour and glitz to reach those places that need it most. Power of the Lord coming to a town near you. Below the blurb is a flyer of that tour, which is in your evidence. Okay. Witness the power of the Lord in the summer of 96. 3 generations of Miracle Store, featuring testimony from the world-famous Miracle Jr. Special appearance of Miracle Roottrees in the 68th year of God's Earth. Children are welcome. Celebrate your pastor Miracle III and his wife Nicole. Miracle Jr. who names this Miracle Jr. who said to be world famous and gets top billing. Miracle Jr. has notable Roottrees. Miracle Roottrees makes a special appearance, and Miracle III and his wife Nicole, said to be the youth pastors. And he is a preacher. And that'll be Miracle the Third. Who is also a preacher, and so is his father. We don't have a photo of. Okay, so we need still need a couple more blood relatives. But I'm very comfortable with that. Right, so get some other right, his wife is Nicole. As well, we'll shove that in so it's done. Nicole. Madsen. There you are. Right, let's look at some of this other evidence. This photo was tucked inside an envelope with a letter beneath a candle in the corner of his office. The letter says, "To Carl and Brenda. I'm sorry that you were unable to attend the funeral. Well, it's traditional to have it as soon as possible. And Ernie, more than anyone else on Earth, knew how busy your job can be. I've enclosed a shiver candle, identical to ours if you'd like to pay your respects. Though it's not expected for those outside the faith to do so. Ernie was a man full of love, not only for his family, but for his family's legacy. He had an immense amount of pride for the work you three did together, as well as how Carl was carried on for him after taking over. As for myself, it is impossible to express my gratitude enough for rescuing us from the panic and burden of endless bills. Although we caught it too late for him to get on the donor list, the company took care of us beyond our wildest expectations. It was unsaid at the time, but Ernie and I knew it had to have been Carl that convinced the trust, and that it was no coincidence it happened shortly after your visit, Brenda. Up until the end, Ernie and I had to stay strong, especially for Nicole's sake. We could never have done that without Altitude fighting for us. Much love, Debbie." So... is that different, Nicole? So we know... Let's look at some more evidence. So Ernie and Deb. Hang on, I'm gonna make a note. Ernie and Debbie are married. Ernie was CEO at some point. Lauren's diary contains so many pictures. This is the 5 pieces. This picture is famous in our house. Papa even had it framed. That's him on the left. It was taken in 1935 to celebrate the move to the new warehouse that Eli Jr. designed. Angie and I both wanted to be in the photo, since Miracle was in it and the 3 of us were all about the same age. We were told only the 5 pieces, which really didn't go over well, to say the least. Eventually, I suppose I had to stop the tantrums. They posed in front of the camera with Mr. Morden. Mr. Morden, who was there with Aunt Gwendolyn. I found out years later they never even took a second photo. Right, so if that's the 5 pieces, so we can probably add those, some of these at least. So if that's Pop, then that's this guy. That's now free in the box. These 3 inches correct and been locked. We can also lock in, I think, Miracle. And possibly, this is either, I don't know. I reckon that's going to be Margot, because of the blonde hair. Because I'm just thinking she'll probably be the one who's related to Gwen. Because of the hair colour. And so we'll have him and then the firstborn here. So so Angie is probably either a daughter or a cousin. The Free Spirits. This photo has a note attached from your employer. Every 20 years or so, the Roottrees will hold a big reunion and recreate an old family photo. This is one from the 70s, and Carl's a teenager in the middle. Okay, that's interesting. Sorry about the water damage, a pipe bursting in Carl's office. On the back of the photo, the childish apron writing, it says November. There are also a large number of cursive signatures. They include Bonnie, next President Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth M., Gwendolyn, Miracle Jr., Jim Roottree, Carl, it's a Clark, Carl, and Eli M. Lauren's diary contains some no posters. This is the next generation. Caption: an attempt to recapture the spirit of the 5 pieces photo of our generation. For old time's sake, we gathered on the warehouse floor. I wanted Eli to stand all the way on the left, since to me he looked like Pop than the old one. I was outvoted by brothers. They insisted the 4 of us stand together until we clumped up in the middle and let everyone filter in behind and in front of us. The only one too good to make an appearance was Gwen. Grandma and sister include Sam, even if we didn't want to. None of us understood why, including Sam. I don't think it fair Miracle made it in, since he's technically a 5-piece. I guess my inner child still holds a grudge even after all these years. So we climbed up in the middle. So these are all the so these four are all the next generation then. So I'm gonna put their photos in, but I might not get them in the right order. Crap, I need to look at the photo again. So blue tie, bow tie, brown tie, and that'll be Lauren in the middle. Okay, so where is brown tie? There he is. Anyway, we've got a oh, is that going to be... Is that Miracle Jr. as well? That small kid in the photo? Oh. Vote for Stephanie Jones for the City Council. Better for Butler County. This is Brody on a ton of mail that Carl left in his inbox. It was had a handwritten note attached that seemed personal. It's about a candidate for local office, Stephanie Jones. On the back of his next exempt for newspaper article from the Butler County Times about a campaign. Stephanie had grown up in an unconventional family, to say the least. In her words, it was still full of love. And now, 22 years later, with a baby of her own due around Christmas, her message is phrased simply, love is our future. The handwritten note says, Carl, I know we didn't see eye to eye when it comes to the candy company, but if you could talk to your girls about putting out a statement supporting Stephanie, she couldn't let the publicity of your daughter. She could use the publicity your daughters bring. Don't let our conflict spread to the next generation. CM. So I wonder if Stephanie is a relative of Clark. Possibly. CM. I think we might have to look at. Okay, so we found all those. Well, if I look up 5 pieces. The marketing materials in various candy a history sites, you learn that 5 pieces is the iconic candy sold by the Roottrees Candy Company. They are no longer the company's only popular product, they still sell well to this day. 5 pieces are small, colourful shell-coated maple candies. Since the late 20s have been pressed into the shape of a maple leaf, although they usually have one flavour that looks more like a berry. As tastes have changed over the years, so have the 5 flavours, but the shape and combination of maple have remained consistent. There's also a history of print advertising website that claims to have a 5-piece advertising scam from a book called The Sweet History of Candy Volume 2 by Charles Lee. Fortunately, when you click through the website, it seems like all their image links are broken. Right, so I'm going to do a quick search of that in the public library. Crap. Charles Lee. This is a book series about all things candy in the modern world. It starts in 1925 and continues onwards and chronicle the rise of mass production and global distribution. The book ends with a look at the future of candy, featured by experts in 1985. With the addition of hindsight, you can clearly see they got pretty much everything wrong. It includes some print advertisement. You can find newspaper 5 pieces from 1930s. Okay. Roottrees 5 pieces. Say the flavours inspired by their children, and the exact order is grape, elderberry, cinnamon extract, melon, and the newest flavour, miracle berry. So, G E C E M M. Okay, so with that in mind, so we've got. I've done this. I'm an idiot. Should I? So C. So this would be E. Would that be Elias Jr.? And G would be then be Gwendolyn. And I think she's a housewife because Lauren made a comment about how they're all the women were housewives. And she'll also be a housewife. Got it. This is so Oberdin like.
You're listening to WRTD. It's time for your headlines. Once an hour, every hour, on the 45. It's a bizarre development to an already tragic tale.
Go
in the
on.
wake of the accident that took his life, some of Carl Roottrees' belongings have apparently gone missing. Most
Of course they
notably,
have.
a framed photo of the Roottree family from the mid-1970s that Carl had on his office wall. We interviewed a local psychologist about who would do such a thing and why. For that article, search online for WRTD News. Again, that's WRTD.
Uh-oh. I think that's the one that we've now got in our office. Well, that's not good. Torres Montjoy's. Interesting. Mystery comics, tales of suspense. Cool. Not long before they were set to return, you heard something on from the WRTD radio. The photo you were given may have been stolen from Carl's office. Newscast mentioned you could search online for WRTD to find out more. Interesting. Let's do that. WRTD News, your local investigative jazz radio station. During their news segments at 45 minutes on the hour, they have been talking about the plane crash. This most recent hour, they have also talked about a picture taken from Carl's office after the plane crash. They promised an interview online with a psychologist. During the interview, it's revealed there wasn't a break-in. Instead, someone with a key to the office took the picture after discovering the pipes burst due to the recent storm. It means it was likely someone close to the family who was aware of the photo's history and wanted to save it. The psychologist, however, also goes on to posit the culprit had an alternative agenda, specifically because nobody in the family has come forward to say they have in their possession. Another comment below the article says, "Don't believe their eyes. This is just another instance of the Roottrees curse being a real, true thing. I bet you Carl was murdered and the picture had evidence on it." I'm gonna look up. Actually, hang on. I'm gonna look up Roottrees curse, but I'm gonna add that to my notes. Curse. There's a long rambly conspiracy website with very small, very red text on a black background that says the Roottrees are cursed. It's very important that we very recently updated with the following. Update. With Carl and Brenda and their girls, it marks 5 new deaths. Not only that, but 3 of the 5 presidents of the Roottrees company have died mysteriously. They say Guy's car was hit by a drunk driver in 1982, but no one was arrested. Then Ernie Madsen Jr. stepped down. Was he poisoned? Now this week, Carl died in a plane crash. This cannot be a coincidence. There's no venture that claims if you connect the dots in the pattern of the 5 pieces wrapper, it creates a Mayan ruby skull. A secret message meant to subliminally scare people away. The post before this is a link to a site that talks about how Earth has a 4-corner simultaneous 4-day time cubes. The author of the site seems to agree. What? An entry from a few months ago claims the owner of the site received an email from Chris Rath75 Prodigy.us asking to take down the site with faked proof that Ernie Madsen Jr. actually had a heart condition and wasn't poisoned. He only claims that although the proof looks credible, he knows the proof was fake because he's an expert at creating fake evidence. Sure, okay, whatever. The first entry is from 1996 and has a blurry picture of the Roottrees Candy Company factory. It's only taken from the website's author from behind a fence and through some trees. It seems that Operation RT-29 is real. A witness helicopter landed on February 29th, 1996. The website says, "All Images and Ideas" by Thomas Overwood. Huh. Okay. With no notifications. I'm going to... So is... I wonder if Clark Rafferty is in this picture somewhere. In one of those pictures. Apparently not. But Carl is. And he probably is too. The 70s guy looks very 70s musician-esque. So he's probably... I'm sorry, I realize I'm being really scattershot and like my evidence and finding people and stuff. There isn't really as much of a focus. You probably could zoom in closer anyway. So succession. So Zach is the firstborn son of the firstborn five piece. So it's one of these. So Zach is one of these guys. I'm gonna put in. Because he's the firstborn son doesn't mean he's the firstborn child. It could be this one. So I'm gonna put him here. I don't have a photo for a minute. I think. We need to find a Zach or a Zachariah or something. I don't know. And he will be a second president. Sure, Andy's older than Zach. So that'll be Angela. It'll be Angela Morden, right? Angelica Morden. Which means that this guy will also be a Morden. Well, it'll have to be a man, so. I don't know what. Can I do a search for? Elias Round. I'm still doing it. I'm still getting it. Elias Roottrees Jr.'s name is listed on the website about historical buildings in Butler County. He is listed alongside an old residence that has been preserved. You can find called Huntshop House. You can attempt to find more information about the man, the building, become empty. Oh, he was an architect. There was another bit of evidence that said that. Of course he was. I'm gonna add another photo. Weird. There it is. And I assume look at this photo. Your employer. So when I pulled the world damage, picture of the free spirits famous came out too. But the back photos couldn't make the reunion wishing well from Paris. Gwyneth and the boys. So presuming they're all cousins of some kind, or unless they're both her sons, which is possible. So one of these is going to be... Look at the notes again. The curse. Ernie Madsen Jr. Look at that again. So, is there a guy Roottrees? No. I'll have to do a search for Clancy Roottrees Jr. so I can get an idea of who that guy's deal. Wait, what was the Ernie Madsen. Guy Hudson. His new last name. Fancy Flavors in addition to the 5-piece line for less than a year and 1979. It was Guy Hudson's first and historically most cited move as president of Roottrees, in an attempt to cater more towards what he thought the average person wanted. Guy looked at his own wealth, which was often a source of envy of others, and decided to tap into the idea if they added fancy flavors to 5 pieces, anyone could live like the wealthy. The philosophy led to flavor and 5 pieces of entertainment caviar. 5 pieces sold less that year than it had any other year, except for in some foreign markets. It's quickly announced that caviar was meant to be limited flavor and would go back to normal as soon as possible. Okay. But we don't have any other Hudsons, do we? Try to get this photo for some more evidence if there's anything that can like... Okay, so we've got an Eli. Yeah, this guy. He's got a name tag. So would that be another Elias? Then where would he fit in? Possibly here? Because I would be surprised if it was like an Elias Miracle Roottrees. Then that's just guessing. And who's... What if I just search the free spirits? Will that come up with anything? Damn. I wonder if there's anything else in Lauren's diary that we missed, possibly. So... So I think this guy on the left here, that's Sam. And then who's the redhead in the back, and who's this? Oh, that's really, really weird. So I wonder if... So her mother's family were the Cassells. What does that mean? It's a guardian adoption otherwise. Okay. Right, there's only one there, so that'll be that. Her father was head lawyer. I think we got that? Yep. It's a free spirits of generation after Lauren's. Miracle's boy, so he has a, so yeah, Elias is the other Miracle one. And that's gonna be this guy. And I'm gonna say he's Elias M. I don't know what he does, but okay, so one of the other brothers is an Elias. Is the other Elias. Possibly this one? I don't know, I'm making a rough guess here. No, wait. No, because that's a Clancy. That's not the same thing. I wonder if this would be... Just want to have a read of some of this. Okay, so his sister, so Zach has a sister, I think we logged as Angelica, but we don't have a photo yet. If I can look up nope. Cool. There's still quite a lot here according to this that's worth. We marked that Clark's getting married to Danielle, didn't we? Yep. I don't know why I keep clicking so. CM. I wonder if that's Clark in that photo. Politics? And then it'll be Stephanie as J. Okay, she's on the list. Ah. Maybe it isn't then. Apparently there's still evidence to gain from this. Well, it's not much, but there's something. Carlin's second cousin, Ernie Jr. So it'd be one of these. Guess which one though. Can I search? Do I want to search? I've already searched Ernie Jr., Ernie Hudson. Apparently there's more in here, which is interesting. Okay, great grandson of Elias Roottrees. Oh, yeah, but that's obvious. What is MMM? MM is abbreviation for Modern Music Monthly, a magazine from the 1940s to early 80s. It went out of business due to high competition with much more major publications. And the name of the thing is... It's having Jim and Diamond, I guess? Or maybe Peter Janowitz. Peter Janowitz wrote great reviews and articles for Music Monthly. You don't seem relevant in the first few pages of results, and 2 million results click through them. Specific album names are outlined and searching those instead. A review and interview in 1979, titled A Reluctant Hitmaker, Jim goes into his first band. So a few years ago, Diamond I know as C&J and J&D. With my cousin and his ex. Clark never knew his father, so our grandpop insisted he spent time with my dad and me. As a result, Clark and I grew up like brothers. Diamond and Jane, on the other hand, are actually sisters. Okay. So the four of us had a cutesy family band thing going on. Not our finest hour. When Diamond walked in on Clark in bed with her younger sister, everything exploded. In my family band. Do we have Clark? Okay, my cousin and his ex. So Clark is James's cousin. Oh yeah, of course, duh. What's a new Clark? Why am I'm being dumb? So, Jane. Younger sister. So that'd be Jane LaRue. So anyway, the only thing Clark and I had in common was music. But even then, he'd never been what it should be. He was always more interested in catchy tunes, something you would hum a week later. I've been told Ronan is like that, but it wasn't my goal. When he called me up and said he liked it, I took it as a sign that I was going in the wrong direction musically. That made him laugh. But I'm trying to make art. I don't mind saying this in a degree. For most of the decade he was a mess, but he's a lot happier now. He started Raffa tunes, he's a much better jingle writer and songwriter. One of the benefits of our famous family is a massive company willing to be a client. That's how my father was connected to Roottrees. All of his old ad campaigns were hung in the walls and the record player, but I was never interested, I just went straight for the music. I guess Clark was paying more attention. Okay. So, they're both musicians as well. Unless jingle writer is a separate thing, which it shouldn't be, but... and he was a... Isn't really like an ad man. Okay, advertising. If I search... Because I'm not sure, I know I've got... And this is kind of minor anyway, but... Because there are a couple of other LaRues. Okay, it's just that's all we have. Okay. Like I said, this is really minor things, doesn't really matter. Can we search Clark Rafferty? Okay, can we search that in periodicals? If it's an album, I don't know. Yeah. Section of the magazine called Skip It or Flip It has a short, pithy blurb about new records. The album for all these times is listed under the Skip It column of the following. These times new single from C and J&D, Clark Rafferty, Jim Ritchie and two of the Roo sisters. Amateurish, focused songwriting is catchy at times, but often doesn't do anything new. So I want to go back onto this because does it mention his father's ad campaigns? I think that's something we need to sort of look into. Because we don't know the names, that makes it a bit difficult. Is anything in the public library about? No, because it wouldn't. And his name is Edward Clancy Roottrees. If it's anything like, if he's written anything about being a lawyer or any record of any cases that he's done with them. Okay. Was it Clance Trust? Clanstead, okay. Clanstead Trust is a highly unusual corporate arrangement named after Clancy Edward Roottrees, who was Elias's son, the Roottrees candidate's head lawyer at the time. Due to its unique nature, it's brought up in online discussions about financial matters and inheritance as an oddity. The company mandates that a fixed percentage of its profits is split every quarter amongst bank accounts representing each direct relative of Elias or Gwyneth. An account is created for each blood relative at birth and is first accessible when they reach 18. The actual numbers have never been fully disclosed to the public, but due to the ever-increasing success of the company, it is a significant amount of money. The Clancy Trust is known for being essentially impossible to get around due to many checks and balances written into it. It's known for essentially, still there have been few situations in which family members have been tried to forcibly remove another member from the trust. Most details online are pretty vague as to matters handled internally. The information you discover is from a university law school, or which apparently had a guest lecture talk about the Roottrees versus RI in 1974. Right, we're going to have a search of that. I'm going to say Business Watch. Okay, cool. I like this background music. It's like, sounds like it's a little bit of like a chorus pedal on that bass line. A big fan of the chorus pedal. You find very few details about this particular incident with regards to Clancy Trust. A student who attended the lecture about it wrote the following on a Legal Oddities website. From what you can tell, RR attempted unsuccessfully to remove a fellow family member from the trust. We said that RR attempted two arguments. One, first person in question was born out of wedlock. Second, they committed a significant crime against a fellow family member. Still, due to the ironclad wording of the Clancy Trust, it was impossible to remove any direct descendant of the Elias S. Roottrees without completely dissolving the trust. There is no additional information online. So I guess who is RR? I'll put that in my notes. Shouldn't be brave on there, but I'll fix that at some point. And what was the other one? The 5-piece guarantee. 5-piece guarantee is in combination with the Clan Trust, which allows Roottrees attempt to ensure that Rootree Candy Company remain a family business for eternity. In isolation, it is somewhat baffling. The yearly salary of Roottree's president is always locked to the price of a single pack of 5 pieces. Interesting. When the 5-piece guarantee went into effect, it was 25 cents a year. Now it's closer to $4. Combined with the Clan Trust, however, it makes a bit more sense. Elias wanted to ensure that only his direct relatives could afford to be president. And he knew that because their passive income was tied to the profits of the company, they would have a vested interest in keeping the company as profitable and successful as possible. Whether this was smart or a successful decision is widely debated both online and in person by economics enthusiasts of all levels of expertise. Which probably would explain why Carl started another company, so he could make more money off it. Well, him and his family could earn more. I don't know how helpful this has been though, that's the thing. I want to get some, if there's some advertising. But I wonder if they're still named after relatives. But it's different because it's obviously different names. I wonder if so SS, because there was a reference to R and RR, so I wonder if there's a bunch of so like this generation possibly. They're all named after like that, so like let's have a check on some names. No, doesn't really work. I was thinking PP. No. I don't know. I just need to get what Elias M did. I can't. So the uniform words here would indicate some kind of blue collar job. But I don't know. If I just do a search of jobs here, something might come up that might trigger it. Like construction possibly, but then it's more of like a handyman sort of. Like it could be a mechanic. Oh, hang on. There was something in one of her bits about Sam. Yeah, so that sort of implies that he was going to be he's a mechanic. So who is... Why does Sam fit in though? That's the question. Recognize Sam at... So this is 1963. Recognize Sam at Uncle Junior's wedding to Patsy. So we want a Patricia, I guess. I mean, these might not be correct. We just sort of shove these in. It's quite a, I mean, there's still quite a lot of stuff in this section that we pass knowledge in any way to realize think any ever did was bring him someone would be illegal to marry if we lived anywhere south of Pennsylvania. So that's another Edwards. But then that... Unless... hang on. Have I got this... have I got these two wrong? Yeah, so like... Edward would also be a lawyer, which means he's not this woman. But what do we... do we know that Clancy Jr. is Carl's father? Right, what do we have? Do we have anything in our notepads? And if I do another search for Carl Roottrees, will it say anything about who his father is? Doubt it. Do Edward Roottrees? Okay, I wonder... wonder if these guys are worth searching. No. I think character traits my spy piece photo generation. Was it EI on the left? Yeah, this is the first identity we in the middle, and so we in the filter in behind and in front of us. I wonder if right, I'm just not convinced these three are right, because one of them, so Edward is going to take over the father's business, and one of these works in advertising. I'm going to swap these over, and I'm going to say, that is lawyer. And obviously that's not right. was Patricia, wasn't it? Interestingly, I wonder, because I just spotted the names. I'm just going to use this one as an example. There was a Rafferty LaRue. There's a couple of them actually. So presumably, Clark marries, and these two are these two here. So maybe that's not that. And that goes here. But that feel I don't know. We'll have a photo of Zachariah, but I don't know. Cause he'll be in the next generation. I don't know which one. Let me look, see if I can like maybe figure out who some of these might be from. It's how they look. Why is this really weird and like... Oh, it looks better on the monitor. On my PC it doesn't. It's a bit more jerky, which isn't great. I need to... So Clark is in that photo. So we have Bonnie, next president Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth M, Gwendolyn, Clark, Carl, and EIM. So I wonder if Clark is... I think this guy might be Clark just because he kind of looks like a... So he looks like a 70s musician, but I guess they all technically could. maybe it's him. I'm gonna randomly pick one. Maybe we've got another 3, so maybe 2 right somewhere. So nope. We're already at the point where we're like just throwing pictures against names and hoping they work. I just realised I think I added that. I thought I'd done everyone in this picture, but apparently not. That might not be. I'm not convinced. So who did? Just trying to fill out some of these, like, and then maybe we might get some more ideas. We'd like to get the name of the advertising company as well. That'd be really good. Apparently this is like really full of clues. CM. Who's CM? Caroline Morden? Possibly? Which would make her daughter of Zachariah Morden. I'm gonna say she's gonna be a housewife. Because there was a line, because Lauren had a line about all people of her generation being housewives apart from Gwen. Which means, actually, hang on from the photo, I reckon that's going to be Angelica, or and is nice. I thought that was Sam for the longest time, but apparently it isn't. Okay. Oh yeah.
So, you may have heard the news. Some of Carl's things have gone missing. That includes the pictures and mail I brought you earlier. I promise I didn't steal it.
But
I did borrow it. I'll return it once we're done. Let me deal with my family in the meantime. Oh, I guess that means I've officially confessed. I'm a Roottrees.
plot twist! Nah, I think we kind of figured out she was some kind of relative.
I assure you I have a reasonable explanation for the secrecy. I'm about to do something big the family doesn't approve of. If you could just wait a little bit longer, I'll tell you more, in person. I'll return after 15 more blood relatives.
15? Right, tell you what. I think what we're going to do is we're going to call it there. I'm just going to have a look at the family tree quickly. Just to see where we kind of are. Ooh. Did get that right. Nice. Well, that's wrong. Because that would have been locked in if... Also, I think Nicole is, Wait, hang on. Let's go back to that name. Because I put that in and I realised, hang on, that's actually part of this dynasty. We're gonna have to... It's somewhere around here. I'm guessing. Anyway, we'll come back to this next time, and we will hopefully get some more blood relatives and figure out some more clues. And I don't know. This is gonna be a lot tougher. I think there's gonna be a lot of I have no idea, but hopefully we'll get through it and we'll get them all. I'm fairly confident we will. I mean, it's very Oberdin-like, and I loved Oberdin. So I'm really, really excited to play a bit more of this tomorrow. So hope you can join me for that. And we'll see you next time. And as always, au revoir, baby! See ya.